let's talk about his strengths and things he needs to work on. You know, he's a skillful and direct winger. I know he likes to cut inside from the left, but what else should we know about
him? He loves a dribble, and he loves just getting at fullbacks. A lot of the time, he's a inverted winger, so he'd start left wing, but he's right-footed. So the amount of times where he'd kind of cut across the fullback and then either lay it off to someone in space or have a shot. I mean, he'd do that. A lot of his goals were scored, and a lot of his assists were kind of created through this style of play. So I think you'll get a lot of that where he likes to kind of get in at the penalty area. He's a winger where I'd say probably more on what he needs to improve is he doesn't tend to, he won't kind of go at the byline too often and get the ball in the box. But in all fairness to him, that's probably because the way we played last season and the start of this season, we didn't really play with a lot of width. So I think that was the case of, that wasn't so much on Clarke, that was just kind of on the way he was set up to be taught to play, really. So I think in a different sort of setup, you might see sort of that natural strength kind of improved on there. But no, I mean, he's one of these players where when he gets on the ball, you just think, you can almost kind of predict what he's going to do. And you'd think by now that fullbacks would be able to predict that as well. But I don't know if they might be a bit more savvy in the Premier League, but in the Championship, it would just be constantly he'd do the same thing, but it would be successful. There were so few fullbacks kind of switched on to think, if they keep him on his left foot, then he's not really going to do much. But the amount of times he'd be let back onto his right foot to be able to basically cause damage was unbelievable, to be honest. With the sort of strengths, he's just, I think mainly the fact that he's just so direct, and I think he'll be, a lot of the times for Sunderland, he's played as more of like one of our three forwards rather than a winger, sort of creating chances for the strikers. So I think, if Ipswich do kind of line up in any sort of setup which has three forwards, he'll be the left-hand sided forward there, and he'll want to just be as clinical as possible, really. And I think that's something what he's kind of developed at Sunderland. Because when we first signed him, he was 19, 20, I think, when we signed him. He'd never really been given a good run anywhere. When he signed permanently at Sunderland, I think this was the first club where he was really given the chance to be that sort of number one option. And he took it with both hands. So I think all the kind of experience he's gained at Sunderland, I think is going to go down well at Ipswich, I think.